When you watch the movie Signs, what you're basically getting is a story about an alien invasion of Earth. Recently I rewatched it and I started to think about a new idea, and I thought, what if this is about moving on from the painful end of one relationship and being open to starting a new one, or just being open to love in general after that? Now, the reason I say that is this. Let's say that there are two worlds in a relationship. The world in a relationship, that's when you're in a relationship, and then the world after a relationship ends. So in this movie, let's just say that these worlds are represented by Earth pre-contact, that's when you're in a relationship, and Earth post-alien contact, that means aliens are already here, and that's the world after a relationship ends. Stick with me here. What if the aliens represent the change that you fear? The aliens are like the next relationship or the possibility of a next relationship. It's the change that you resist because you're still pining or hurting from the previous relationship. But it's something that you have to overcome, right? Living in fear is no good. So as you experience the pain from the new reality of a post-relationship world, you eventually have to decide to face up to your reality and overcome it. That's how you get ready to have a new relationship. So to me, that's what Mel Gibson's character is experiencing throughout the whole thing. He's got the painful death of his wife, a tragic car accident, and his world is completely different. Right? He's sort of in limbo for 6 months after the death, trying to cope with it. And then all of a sudden, there's an arrival that just is something that he can barely comprehend. Now, there are two clues that sort of tipped me off to this theory. The first one is, because of Mel Gibson's history with his wife who died in an accident, there's a running flashback with the loss of his wife or the end of a relationship. And that's a major change, just like the arrival of the aliens, turning our understanding of the world upside down. So everything's been turned upside down for him. And because they keep sort of flashing back to his relationship with his wife and the painful loss or end of that relationship, that kind of tipped me off to think, well, maybe this is about relationships in a way, because it happens throughout the film. The next one is at the very end, after the aliens are defeated or he faced his fears and they're gone, you see that he's in his room and he puts his collar back on, because when his wife died, he was a priest at the time, but then he lost his faith because the relationship ended, she died, and he was shook by that. So one of the themes for most of the movie is that he didn't want to be a priest anymore. He didn't believe. He didn't have faith. And you see there are times where Merrill, his brother who lives with him, said, you lost faith, and I don't really ever want to see that in your eyes anymore. And so after experiencing defeating the aliens, the Earth, not just them, but like the Earth, and the Earthlings defeated the aliens, the alien invasion, and he returns to being a priest because you can see the collar on. But if you think about it, it makes no literal sense, because it makes symbolic sense, but not literal sense, because if you've just acknowledged that aliens exist and in fact you've just had a war with them, wouldn't that throw all religious doctrine out the window? And science as well, because now everything's different. You can't just go back to the way things were. You've already experienced aliens. So what good is Christianity or Islam or anything else now that you know aliens exist? You have to rewrite the books. History has to almost start over at that point. So to me, it's there in that it's just meant, the whole movie is meant to be symbolic. So to me, that was just a symbolic gesture of him saying, I have faith in love, I have faith in relationships, I have faith in myself, and being happy and trying to start again. And that's the cycle of relationships, where things happen, you're in a relationship, there's a painful end, whether it's a death or you just break up or anything. And then you have your world rocked by the pain of that, but also thinking, am I supposed to go through this again? Is that what life is? I have a relationship for 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. It ends. It hurts. And then I have to start over and do it all again. Why would I do that? And I think that's what this movie is about. It's a metaphor for relationships and moving on to the next one. Being open to facing your fear and trying to embrace the change once you're ready, of course. I mean, I'm not trying to say that there shouldn't be a period of mourning here, but eventually you have to get back on the horse, so to speak. And that's what I kind of took this movie as. And it hit me. I've seen this movie many times. I love it. I think it's a fun alien movie. And you could watch it and just enjoy it for what it is. Aliens invading Earth, which is, probably going to happen at some point. But I thought it was interesting that this idea hit me. And the more I think about it, the more it kind of makes sense that it's about everything that I've said. Just want to throw this out there. It's a little, I'm half joking here, but it's one thing that also stood out to me. When the alien was in the pantry and Mel Gibson's character was, peeking under the door, and then it stuck its hand there and he chopped its finger off. And then you saw at the end when the alien knew where he lived and found him and hung around to try and get revenge, I guess. You notice what finger was cut off on the alien? The ring finger.